Hi, welcome to my tutorial on how to make a poppy seed head, a poppy bud and poppy leaves. I'm demonstrating this with sugar, but you can also make it with clay. Here is the list of the equipment required to make this beautiful flower. We are starting by making the poppy centre. Take your reel of black cotton and a 22 gauge wire. Wrap it around your fingers 30 times. Remove the cotton from your fingers and fold the 26 gauge wire over the cotton and then twist the wire as tight as you can. Once the wire is nice and secure, cut through the loops on both ends of the cottons. Take another 26 gauge wire and cut it in half, then make a hook at the end, just like in the photograph. Need some Squire's Kitchen Holly Ivy colour flower paste, approximately 1.5 grams, and roll it into a ball. Shape the paste into a cone, then flatten the end. This is now part of the poppy centre. Dip your hooked wire into the edible glue and push it into your poppy through the pointed part of the cone. Reshape the poppy centre as necessary. Score the paste with your PME 10 Dresden flower shaping tool around the outside of your poppy centre. There are two ways to make the head. This is the first option. Using your cranked tweezers, pinch the flower paste of your poppy centre, making a star. Make the first 2 pinches opposite each other, then add 2 more pinches in the middle of them, and then pinch another 4 in between. Note how there is a small circle in the centre. Then again, using your cranked tweezers, pinch the edge of your poppy centre to make a rim. Once you have done this, your poppy will look like the photograph. The second option is to colour some white flower paste with some brown to make it a light beige colour. Roll it into a ball, apply pressure with your finger to flatten it. It needs to be the size of the top of the poppy centre. Pinch the flower paste with the crank tweezers to make a star pattern. Make the first 2 pinches opposite each other and 2 more pinches in the middle of them. Then pinch another 4 in between. Make the top of your poppy centre moist with a wet paintbrush and put the paste on top. Take your wire with the cottons and your poppy centre. Spread the cottons around your poppy centre and trim to just above the poppy centre. Once you've trimmed the cottons, we need to fluff them with an emery board or metal file. Hold the cottons between your fingers and rub the emery board over the top to fluff up the ends of the cottons. Place the cottons on the wire around the poppy centre as evenly as possible. Using your green half tape, wrap around the top as tight as possible, stretching the tape as you go to release the glue. Wind the tape down the wires, keeping it flat. You do not want a bulky stem. Place your poppy head in a polystyrene dummy to dry. We are now going to make the poppy petals. Take 2 26 gauge wires and cover the end of them with the red paste, the length of the poppy petal. We don't want this to be too thick or bulky. Knead the red paste well. Roll out the paste very fine. When you think it's thin enough, you can normally roll it out a little more. The finer the paste, the more realistic your flower will look. Place your cutter on the flower paste and cut out 4 petals. Turn the poppy petals over. Wet the pasted end of your wire and stick it to the back of the petal. Turn the petal over with the wire attached and vein the petal with your gem number 12 vein marking tool, starting from the centre of the petal and working your way out to the edge on both halves of the front of the petal. You can trim off any flower paste on the wire that comes below the petal. Repeat this process for each petal. Place your petal on your cell pad on its front. Using your ball tool, soften the edges of your flower petal. Half on the petal, half on the pad. You will notice the edge of your petal starting to frill slightly. This gives your petal a fine edge, therefore giving a more natural look. Curve your petal using your thumb and forefinger. Apply the pressure from the front with your thumb. Your petal should look like the second photograph. This gives your petal a realistic look. Repeat this process for all 4 petals. Place the petals in your polystyrene dummy to dry. We are now going to make another bud. Take 2 26 gauge wires and hook the ends as we did previously. Knead the green flower paste well and make a ball, then shape into a cone. This is now your poppy bud. With a kitchen knife, mark a line down the bud. Repeat this on the opposite side. Dip one of your hooked wires into the edible glue, then push the wire into the thicker end of the bud. Note this is the opposite way to a poppy centre. Smooth your bud and reshape as necessary. Wet the bud all over and dip into semolina. Make sure the whole bud is covered. Shake off any excess. Place the bud in the polystyrene dummy to dry. Once the bud is dry, tape the wire all the way down to the end. We start approximately 1 inch down, then once we have wrapped it a few times we push it to the top. Be careful not to push the bud off the top of the wire. Keep twisting your wire as you wrap the tape around, stretching the tape as you go to release the glue. Remember to keep the tape flat. Your bud will now look like the second photograph. Place your bud in your polystyrene dummy while we prepare the next step. We're now going to make a half open bud. Make a second bud just like the one we did previously and cut it 2/3 of the way down in half to open it up. Place your ball tool inside the cone to make a cup shape within the bud. Wet the hooked end of the wire with glue and pull it through the split bud and secure it, leaving the bud open. Knead and roll out a small amount of red paste. We want to cut out one more petal. Remember to keep it nice and fine. Roll the petal up as in the photograph. Trim off any excess. You may need to wet the petal to hold it together. Place the bud alongside the rolled petal and measure it for size. Make the inside of the bud a little wet with the paintbrush dipped in water. Wet the outside of the split bud, then dip the split bud in the semolina, making sure you do not get any inside the split. Once your bud is covered, we place the small rolled petal inside. You want to just have your petal coming out of the bud slightly to resemble a poppy bud starting to open. Tape your wire as we have done previously. Making your seed head. Cut a 26 gauge wire in half and hook over, just as we did before. Knead your green paste well and make a cone. Flatten the top, just as we did when we made the centre for the poppy. Dip the hooked wire into the edible glue and push it into the centre through the pointed part of the cone. Reshape as necessary. Score the paste with your PME 10 Dresden flower shaping tool. Remember this step from before? Just like we did at the start of the tutorial, add some brown colour to the white flower paste and make a light beige colour. Roll it into a ball and apply pressure with your finger to flatten it. It needs to be the size of the top of the seed head. Just like before, use your cranked tweezers to pinch the beige flower paste to make a star pattern on the top. Wet the top of the seed head and place the beige paste on top. Once the centres of your poppies and the seed heads are dry, apply some dust lightly across the top of the seed heads and the centre of the poppies. You just want this on the ridges. It's now time to wire the flower. Take all 4 petals and bend the wire at the base of the petals, just like in the photograph. Take the poppy centre and place 2 petals around it. The petals need to be opposite each other. Then take the next 2 and place them opposite but under the edge of the first 2 petals. This has been demonstrated in the photograph. Once all the petals are around the poppy, pull the wires down to make the flower sit nicely together. We don't want large gaps. Once you're happy with how your petals are sitting around the centre of the poppy, you can tape them together. Position your seed head, open bud, and tape them in place too with your half-width tape. Remember to twist the poppy and stretch the tape as you go to release the glue. It's now time to make the poppy leaves. Knead the green paste well, roll it out very fine. Cut 2 pieces of 26 gauge wire in half. Cover the end of the wire in the green paste, the same length as the leaf cutter. Place the leaf cutter on the flower paste. Cut out as many leaves as you want to add to your poppy. I've cut out 3. Turn the poppy leaves over and using a damp paintbrush, put a line of water down the centre of the leaf, then attach the wire with the flower paste on it. Turn the poppy leaf back over and using the PME vein tool, draw a line down the front of the poppy leaf in the centre. Then place the poppy leaf on the cell pad and turn it over again. Using the large ball on the ball tool, stroke the poppy leaf as in the photograph. We want to lengthen and stretch the leaves. We want to curl the edges of the poppy leaf. We do this using the small end of the ball tool. Starting from the outside edge, apply a small amount of pressure while dragging the tool to the centre of the leaf. Using your thumb and forefinger, cup the leaves to shape the poppy leaf. Place your poppy leaf in the polystyrene dummy to dry. Once the poppy leaf is completely dry, we dust the leaf with a flathead paintbrush, using the eucalyptus colour dust on the front of the poppy leaf. To blend the dust on the poppy leaf with the flower paste, we steam it. Boil a small amount of water in a saucepan and wave the leaf over the steam. Be careful not to oversteam the leaf or burn yourself. The final stage of the poppy is to tape the leaves to the rest of the flower. Poppy leaves are quite low down. I've taped them approximately halfway down. Continue to tape the whole length of the stem to the flower to give it a nice neat finish. Your poppy is now complete. I've made this with flower paste, that's what we call it in the UK, but in some countries they call it gum paste. You can use modelling paste, but this would make the petals very, very thick, so I would advise that you use flower paste or gum paste. Thank you for watching my poppy tutorial. If you've enjoyed what you've seen, please hit the like button, and if you'd like to be kept up to date with further videos, then please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching.